February 2008, Sunnyvale, California. Inside Yahoo's headquarters, CEO Jerry Yang stares at a number on his screen that would haunt him for the rest of his career. $44.6 billion. That's what Microsoft is offering, in cash, right now, for a company that's bleeding users faster than a severed artery. But Yang doesn't see desperation. He sees an insult. He built this empire from a Stanford dorm room, and some software giant from Redmond thinks they can buy his legacy at a discount. The board is screaming at him to take it. The shareholders are threatening lawsuits. Wall Street analysts are calling him delusional on live television. Jerry Yang looks at that number one more time. Then he does the unthinkable. He says no. What Yang doesn't know, what he can't see through the fog of his own pride, is that he's signing Yahoo's death certificate. This isn't courage. This isn't vision. This is the beginning of the most catastrophic corporate suicide in Silicon Valley history. And the worst part, this isn't even the first time Yahoo destroyed its own future. Let us rewind to understand how a company goes from being worth $125 billion to selling itself for spare change. Because Yahoo's fall isn't a story about technology. It's a story about ego, blindness, and the fatal mistake of believing your own mythology. In the mid-1990s, the internet is chaos. There's no Google, no organizing principle, just millions of websites scattered across cyberspace like stars without constellations. To Stanford students, Jerry Yang and David Filo create a solution, a human-curated directory of the web. They call it Jerry and David's Guide to the World Wide Web. Later, they rename it Yahoo. It's an acronym, yet another hierarchically organized oracle. It's also a cowboy yell, a celebration, a brand that feels fun and accessible in an era when tech companies have names like Inktomi and Lycos. By 2000, Yahoo is the front page of the internet. Their market capitalization hits $125 billion during the dot-com bubble. Jerry Yang is on magazine covers. Investors are comparing Yahoo to the next Microsoft, the next American empire. Every morning, millions of people make Yahoo their homepage before they do anything else online. But there's a structural flaw no one wants to acknowledge. Yahoo isn't really a technology company. They're a media company dressed in Silicon Valley clothing. They make money selling banner ads and acting as a portal. They don't build breakthrough technology. They buy it or license it. And that flaw is about to crack the entire foundation. By 2000, Yahoo realizes their search function is outdated. Users are complaining. The results are slow and irrelevant. Yahoo needs better technology, fast. They can't build it themselves because their engineering culture has been suffocated by advertising executives and business development teams who see search as just another feature, not the core product. So they make a deal with a tiny startup that operates out of a garage in Menlo Park. The startup has two founders, Larry Page and Sergey Brin, and a search algorithm called PageRank that's faster and more accurate than anything on the market. The startup's name is Google. Yahoo licenses Google's technology to power Yahoo search results. It seems like a smart partnership. Yahoo gets world-class search without building it. Google gets exposure to millions of users and a revenue stream while they figure out their own business model. But within 2 years, Yahoo's executives realize they've made a catastrophic miscalculation. Google isn't just a vendor. They're a competitor, and they're growing at a rate that defies every projection. Users are starting to bypass Yahoo entirely and type google.com directly into their browsers. In 2002, Yahoo panics. They approach Larry Page and Sergey Brin with an offer. $3 billion. We'll buy you out. We'll make you rich beyond your wildest dreams. Just give us back control of search before you eat our entire business. Google's founders consider it. They're only 4 years old as a company. $3 billion is generational wealth. But they can see something Yahoo's executives cannot. They can see a future where search isn't just a feature. It's the operating system of human knowledge. And that future is worth 100 times more than $3 billion. Google says no, politely, but firmly. Yahoo walks away humiliated. They've just been rejected by a company they could have owned outright if they'd seen the future 6 months earlier. This is the original sin. The moment Yahoo proves they don't understand the internet, they claim to dominate. The next 5 years are a slow-motion collapse, disguised as business as usual. Yahoo cycles through strategies like a desperate gambler cycling through superstitions. They try to become a media conglomerate. They hire Terry Semele, a Hollywood executive, as CEO. Semele spends billions acquiring companies that don't integrate, don't innovate, and don't make sense. Engineers leave in waves. The best talent goes to Google. The corporate culture becomes toxic, bureaucratic, and paralyzed by indecision. By 2007, Yahoo is losing every major battle. They've lost search to Google. They've lost email dominance to Gmail. They've lost social networking to Facebook and MySpace. They've lost video to YouTube, which Google bought for $1.65 billion in 2006. Yahoo's stock is in freefall. Employees are updating LinkedIn during work hours. The office feels like a mausoleum where people show up out of inertia, not purpose. Then Microsoft sees an opening. Steve Ballmer, Microsoft's CEO, knows his company is late to the internet revolution. Google is dominating search and advertising. Facebook is capturing the next generation. If Microsoft can absorb Yahoo, if they can combine Yahoo's user base with Microsoft's resources and enterprise relationships, maybe they can build something that competes. In January 2008, Ballmer makes his move. He offers $44.6 billion, $31 per share. It's a 62% premium over Yahoo's closing stock price. It's not a lowball, it's a fortune being handed to a drowning man. Jerry Yang, who returned as CEO in 2007 to save the company he co-founded, looks at Microsoft's offer and sees disrespect. He believes Yahoo is worth more. He believes Microsoft is trying to steal Yahoo's future at a discount. He tells the board he's going to reject it. The board is horrified. This isn't vision. This is delusion. Yahoo's stock has dropped 40% in a year. They have no growth strategy, no competitive moat, no path to profitability that doesn't involve becoming a shell of their former selves. Shareholders revolt. Hedge fund manager Carl Icahn launches a proxy fight to remove Yang and the entire board. He calls Yang's rejection financial malpractice. The consensus on Wall Street is universal. Yahoo just killed itself to protect Jerry Yang's ego. Yang defends himself in press interviews and shareholder meetings. He says Microsoft's offer substantially undervalues Yahoo's true worth. He says they're going to turn the company around. He says they have partnerships in the pipeline that will prove the doubters wrong. He's lying, or worse, he's lying to himself. There is no plan. There's only the fantasy that he can rebuild what's already been lost. By May 2008, Microsoft walks away. They're done negotiating with a CEO who doesn't understand reality. Then the 2008 financial crisis hits. Yahoo's stock collapses. The company that rejected $44 billion is now worth less than $15 billion. Shareholders file lawsuits. The board forces Yang to resign. In November 2008, Jerry Yang steps down in disgrace, releasing a corporate statement about doing what's best for the company. No one believes him. He's been pushed out of his own empire, chased away by the consequences of his own arrogance. Yahoo enters what employees will later call the wilderness years. They hire Carol Bartz, a tough-talking executive with a reputation for turning around struggling companies. Her strategy is to pivot Yahoo into original content, spend hundreds of millions on journalism, video production, and media partnerships. Compete with traditional media companies like CNN and the New York Times. It fails spectacularly, because Yahoo still doesn't understand what it is. It's not Google, it's not Facebook. It's not a media company. It's a company without an identity, flailing in every direction except the one that matters. Bartz is fired over the phone in September 2011. In an interview with Fortune magazine afterward, she says the board told her it was time for a change. The tech press translates that corporate speak into reality. Yahoo was unfixable, and everyone knew it. Think about this for a second. Put yourself in Jerry Yang's position in February 2008. You reholding an offer for $44 billion? Every financial advisor, every board member, every analyst is telling you to take it. The data shows your company is dying, but your ego, your pride, your belief that you're smarter than the market, tells you to say no. Would you have taken the money, or would you have convinced yourself you could pull off a miracle? Answer honestly in the comments below, because that choice is the line between legacy and catastrophe. In 2012, Yahoo makes one last desperate attempt at resurrection. They hire Marissa Mayer, a high-profile executive from Google, as CEO. She's young, brilliant, and immediately, the stock jumps 15% on the announcement. Maybe, people think, someone who understands Google can teach Yahoo how to compete. Mayer spends 5 years trying everything. She redesigns the homepage 17 times. She buys Tumblr for $1.1 billion, hoping to capture the youth demographic. She launches original video content. She hires Katie Couric as a global news anchor. She tries to make Yahoo mobile first. None of it works. Because the problem isn't execution, it's DNA. Yahoo is built on a foundation of strategic confusion and cultural rot. You can't save a company that doesn't know why it exists. By 2016, Mayer admits defeat. She does what Jerry Yang refused to do 8 years earlier. She sells not to Microsoft, not for $44 billion, but to Verizon, a telecom company trying to build a digital advertising business. The price is $4.8 billion. Let that sink in. In 2008, Microsoft offered $44.6 billion. In 2016, Yahoo sold for $4.8 billion. That's a destruction of nearly $40 billion in value. That's not a business mistake. That's a civilization collapsing in real time. But the humiliation doesn't end there. After the deal is announced, Yahoo discloses that it suffered 2 massive data breaches. 3 billion user accounts were compromised. Every single Yahoo account that ever existed was hacked. Names, email addresses, passwords, security questions, everything. Verizon renegotiates the price down to approximately $4.48 billion. Then they take Yahoo's brand, which was once synonymous with the internet itself, and bury it inside a corporate holding company. First they call it Oath, later they rename it Verizon Media. Yahoo.com still exists, but it's a ghost, a zombie, a digital graveyard dressed up as a homepage. As of January 2026, Yahoo is functionally dead. The website is a cluttered mess of clickbait articles and sponsored content. No one under 30 knows what Yahoo was. The few people who still use Yahoo Mail do so out of inertia, not loyalty. The company that could have owned Google, that rejected Microsoft's fortune, is now worth less than a mid-tier social media platform. Meanwhile, Google's parent company Alphabet is worth approximately $1.9 trillion. They process over 99,000 searches every second. They own YouTube, Android, Chrome, Google Cloud, and the infrastructure that runs the modern internet. Every hour, they generate revenue that would have saved Yahoo 10 times over. The math is brutal and simple. If Yahoo had bought Google in 2002 for $3 billion and held onto it, they'd control nearly $2 trillion in value today. If they'd sold to Microsoft in 2008 for $44 billion, their shareholders would have walked away wealthy before the financial crisis destroyed what little value remained. Instead, they chose pride. They chose ego. They chose the delusion that past success guarantees future relevance. So what's the lesson we extract from Yahoo's corpse? What do we carry forward from this funeral? It's this. The market doesn't care about your feelings. It doesn't care about your legacy, your pride, or your vision of what you think you deserve. The market only cares about value, adaptation, and survival. And when you reject lifeboats because they don't match your self-image, the market moves on without mercy. Yahoo's collapse isn't about bad technology or bad timing. They had the resources to compete. They had the talent, the user base, the capital, and the market position. What they didn't have was humility. They couldn't admit when they were wrong. They couldn't see that their golden age was over, and survival required transformation, not stubbornness. Jerry Yang believed Yahoo was special. He believed they were destined for permanent greatness. He looked at Microsoft's offer and saw an insult instead of salvation. That belief, that unshakable faith in his own narrative, killed the company as surely as if he'd set fire to the servers himself. The graveyard of American business is filled with giants who refused to see the cliff until they were already falling. Blockbuster laughed at Netflix. Kodak invented the digital camera, then buried it to protect film sales. Nokia dismissed the iPhone as a toy. Yahoo rejected Google twice and Microsoft once. These aren't stories of bad luck. They're stories of arrogance, of leaders who confused past dominance with permanent immunity, of executives who built empires and then confused those empires with monuments that could never fall. Here's the truth that no CEO wants to hear. Success is not a shield, it's a target. The moment you believe you're untouchable is the moment you've already lost. The moment you think the rules don't apply to you, the market starts writing your obituary. Yahoo had multiple chances at survival. Multiple moments where salvation was offered on terms that would have made everyone rich. And every single time, they said no. Not because the offers were bad, but because accepting them required admitting they were no longer kings. Now Yahoo is dead. Not struggling, not pivoting, dead. Their brand is a fossil. Their technology is irrelevant. Their name is a case study in business schools. A warning told to the next generation of founders about what happens when pride replaces pragmatism. The saddest part is that none of this had to happen. Every step of Yahoo's collapse was preventable. Every disaster was preceded by warnings that were ignored. But pride is a drug more powerful than any substance. And in business, pride doesn't just come before the fall. Pride is the fall itself. If you're building something today, if you're facing impossible decisions in your own company or career, remember Yahoo. Remember that the market doesn't owe you anything. Remember that adaptation isn't weakness, it's survival. And if someone offers you a lifeboat while you're drowning, take it, because the ocean doesn't care how powerful you used to be. It only cares that you're sinking. If this story reminded you that even giants fall when they stop listening, then you're ready for more. Subscribe to this channel, turn on notifications, and share this with someone who needs to hear that survival requires humility, not just ambition. Because the next empire that collapses will be the one that forgot what happened to Yahoo.